Social and political organizations gathered in Argentina to commemorate 20 years of the historic struggle that said no to the free trade agreement in the Americas. New York citizens returned to the polls for the city mayoral election 1 year after Donald Trump won re-election to the White House. And the United Nations has declared that famine in Sudan has spread to new areas of the country and threatens to become a total catastrophe. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Alejandra Garcia from teleSUR Studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. On Tuesday, in Mar del Plata, Argentina commemorates the 20th anniversary of the historic summit that said no to the FTAA and stopped the most ambitious free trade project of the United States on the continent. The Free Trade Area of the Americas, FTAA, was the most ambitious project of the United States to materialize the Monroe Doctrine in the Americas. The treaty was meant to guarantee approximately 800 million consumers for U.S. companies control over natural resources and political control over 34 countries in the continent. The no to the FTAA was the seed for the creation of Union of South American Nations, UNASUR, and also was the strength of a region that in those years, working together, was able to regain a sovereign position, reduce poverty and inequality. Today, citizens and social organizations gather to discuss the historical relevance of that struggle that brought together the most important leaders of the region and the lessons learned for current challenges.
Es un momento en el que el imperialismo.
It is a time when imperialism is once again attempting to turn our continent into its backyard. I believe it began with a very painful manifestation that is an insult to all Latin Americans, which is the ruthless persecution of immigrants within the territory of the United States of America itself. These were and are acts that offend the dignity of the Latin American people. Each of those persecuted, each of those imprisoned in the United States, is a blow to the dignity of all Latin Americans.
The Minister of Government of the province of Buenos Aires, Carlos Bianco, stated that Javier Milei's political strategies have failed many times, and now he's turning to the United States to intervene in the country's economy and geopolitics.
The intervention of the United States in Argentina has become the guarantor and master of the Argentine government's economic program. Today, economic decisions are no longer made in the Casa Rosada, which some would say is fortunately, but I say no. Today, decisions about Argentina's economic program are made on Wall Street, not even in Washington. President Milei's economic program has been so disastrous, failing so many times, that the United States had to step in after he burned his bridges with the IMF, known as the lender of last resort. When we smoked and burned the IMF's dollars, we had to turn to the United States for direct intervention, not only in the economy, but also in Argentina's politics and geopolitics.
And the first Executive Secretary of the Continental Social Alliance, Héctor de la Cueva, emphasized that Donald Trump's strategies are an attack on the peoples of America and the Caribbean.
Just like the FTAA, Trump's strategy is an attack on all the peoples of the North and South. And that Continental Alliance achieved a diversity of social movements, but also an impressive cultural, linguistic, and geographical diversity, because there were social movements, yes, from Canada to Argentina, passing through all the countries, and it was an exercise in tolerance, and it was an exercise in plurality, and it was an exercise in understanding unity.
In this context, Venezuela celebrated the 20th anniversary of the defeat of the U.S. project of domination in the region. In a statement on Telegram, Foreign Minister Iván Gil posted, "On November 4th, 20 years ago, Mar del Plata became the emblematic setting for the reaffirmation of the sovereignty of Latin American peoples against the attempts of U.S. interference during the People's Summit. In this context, the fate of the infamous Free Trade Area of the Americas FTAA treaty was sealed. This U.S. proposal was intended to benefit transnational corporations at the expense of our national industries." He'll finally emphasized, "We were encouraged to look to the north, ignoring the wealth and potential of our brothers in the south." It was Commander Hugo Chavez who, with his historic cry of Alca, Alca, al carajo, FTA, go to hell, put an end to this new form of interference. From that moment on, a new era of regional integration began in our Patria Grande, strengthening the mechanisms of economic and political autonomy of our peoples. Other informations on Monday, the Central Bank of Honduras reported that the country received nearly $16 billion between January and October 2025, an increase over the same period last year, 2024. According to the financial institution, this increase is foreign currency combined with monetary policy measures has contributed to a gradual stabilization of the exchange market. These flows have enabled the broader allocation of foreign currency to sectors such as trade, manufacturing, agribusiness, and financial services. The central bank noted that it maintains adequate levels of international reserves, which guarantees exchange rate stability and a prompt response to domestic demand for foreign currency. And in other information, we go now to Brazil, where the Supreme Electoral Court will judge the governor of Rio de Janeiro, Claudio Castro, and the president of the State Legislative Assembly, Rodrigo Bacelar, which could lead to the removal from office and disqualification. On Monday, Congresswoman Renata Souza filed a motion for impeachment against Castro and Bacelar for violating the rule of law in the operation in the Peña de Alemán favelas. Souza also accused Castro of violating the constitution and governing through fear and impunity amid growing political and social pressure following the security operation, which has been considered the deadliest in Brazil, leaving 121 dead. The United Nations and human rights organizations called for an investigation, while political sectors denounced the state massacre. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to From the South. On Tuesday, in New York, voters are returning to the polls for the city mayoral election 1 year after Donald Trump won re-election to the White House. In this occasion, the election is a race between three candidates: the Democrat member of the New York State Assembly, Zohran Mamdani, the former Democrat governor of New York State and now independent contender Andrew Cuomo, and the Republican candidate and founder of the Guardian Angels Citizen Crime Patrol Group, Curtis Islawa. In this scenario, U.S. President Donald Trump has backed former Governor Andrew Cuomo, stating that he prefers the election of a bad Democrat to that of a communist, a label he has wrongly and repeatedly applied to the socialist Democrat Mamdani. Polling stations are now open and will remain in operation until the evening. Asoran Kawame Mamdani is a 34-year-old New York State Assembly member born in Uganda and raised in New York, the self-described democratic socialist. Mamdani was elected from the 36th district, representing Astoria, Queens, in the 2020 New York State Assembly election. Its campaign platform is centered on an ambitious progressive policy agenda aimed at redistributing wealth, expanding public services, and transforming urban life. Besides his support for the Palestinian cause that has made him a target for Islamophobic attacks, Mamdani's speech is emphatically local, and his campaign has downplayed national culture, wars, and foreign policy to keep focused on day-to-day city services. Polls show him with a commanding lead, up to 25 points over Andrew Cuomo in most recent survey. And other states are also holding elections on this day. New Jersey is experiencing a close governor's race election between Democratic Congresswoman Mickey Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli. Meanwhile, in Virginia, two candidates are competing to be the first woman to lead the Commonwealth: the Republican Winsome Sears, a conservative who currently serves as Virginia's lieutenant governor, and the center-left Democrat Abigail Spanberger, a former CIA agent who helped her party win a House majority during Trump's first term. In addition, a special election is being held in California on Proposition 50. If approved, it would allow for a redistricting that would benefit Democrats in an effort to counter redraws by Republicans in Texas and other states. And in this scenario of close contest, the Democratic Party is placing its hopes in campaigns with local roots that aim to counteract the national conservative message that has emerged in recent years. Democrats are facing their deepest crisis in popularity in decades, and in this regard, the party's approval rating has fallen to historic lows, reaching only 27% according to an NBC News poll in March 2025. And in other news, Russia and China reaffirmed the strengthening of their bilateral cooperation in order to respond to and address local challenges for the benefit of their peoples. After meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping, Russia's Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin reaffirmed Moscow's commitment to working together for mutual and solid support in strategic areas. Mishustin emphasized that Russia supports the One China principle and highlighted that one of the strategies between the two countries is to strengthen alliances in the areas of trade, science, and technology. For his part, the Chinese leader emphasized that they seek to achieve higher levels of quality and goals in order to guarantee security, stability, and sovereignty in their nations. On Monday, Israeli fighter planes launched two attacks in eastern Gaza, violating the ceasefire agreement once again. Airstrikes and artillery attacks have been reported in areas such as Khan Yunis and Gaza City, leaving several Palestinian civilians dead and wounded. Israel has violated the ceasefire since the agreement began, leaving 236 Palestinians dead. This constitutes a continuation of the genocide. Since October 2023, the Zionist occupier has killed 68,865 Palestinians, most of them women and children, and injured 170,670. The extermination operation has also forced the displacement of almost 2 million people. Context: former Israeli military prosecutor Yifat Tomer was arrested this Monday after submitting her resignation and disappearing for several hours on Sunday. The lawyer is believed to have taken responsibility for leaking a video showing Israeli troops abusing a Palestinian hostage. The hunt for the former prosecutor was reportedly ordered directly by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who considered the leak as the most severe public relations attack against Israel. The leak reveals what hundreds of Palestinians have denounced for years, including the United Nations. The army and all occupying security forces were deployed to arrest the former prosecutor, while those allegedly involved in the crime remain free. And in other information, the United Nations has declared that famine in Sudan has spread to new areas of the country and threatens to become a total catastrophe. Experts predict the situation will persist over the coming months and warn that 20 regions may also face food insecurity at famine level severity, given the high number of displaced people. In this context, the Integrated Food Security Phase classification indicated that the capital of North Darfur is one of the epicenters where famine already exists. They also highlighted that the food crisis is expanding to Kadugli in South Kordofan. And we have a second short break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to From the South. According to a study provided by the United Nations, Hurricane Melissa has affected more than 6 million people in the Caribbean. The cyclone has been described by scientists as one of the most intense ever recorded in the Atlantic Basin. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs estimates that 6.4 million people have been directly affected by Melissa in Cuba, Jamaica, and Haiti, losing their homes and basic services. In Jamaica, nearly 77% of the population remains without power, and in Cuba, numerous areas in the east continue to be cut off from communication, and in Haiti, agricultural damage has been described as catastrophic. On Venezuela on the Move, we invite you to discover how the women of the Rayanderas commune keep an age-old tradition alive, cassava bread. This unique food links the economy and identity of the people of Cúpira in eastern Venezuela. From there, Álvaro Fragua brings us a new story.
De las parcelas llamadas conucos a las planchas o
From the family plots called conucos to the griddles or budares, cassava bread is the result of a long, careful process. Each step demands knowledge and patience, as Ana Luisa from Rayanderas can attest to, after perfecting the technique for a lifetime.
Entonces, ese es largo el proceso porque hay que rasparla.
It's a long process. You have to scrape, wash, grate with the engine, then press and remove the yen, which is poisonous. Only after this step can it be consumed safely. From cassava, we make many varieties.
Tiene variedad porque de la yuca se hacen variedades.
En los pequeños talleres familiares cada día.
In these small family workshops, thousands of cassava breads are made each day. The diversity of forms and flavors, hard cassava, semi-hard, cookies, naiboas, and chicha de capino, a sweet drink made from the same root, shows the popular creativity.
Se hace casabe duro el grande, se hace casabe semiduro pequeño.
We make large hard cassava bread, small semi-hard cassava bread, cookies, naiboas, snacks.
También se hace la chicha.
We also make the capino chicha. After sieving, it's heated and processed over 3 days. It's blended and is very tasty.
Procedimiento de 3 días, se licúa y es muy delicioso.
En estas comunas, el espíritu colectivo sostiene la...
Here, the collective spirit sustains production and ensures no one is left behind. A family-based economy built on firewood, patience, and solidarity.
Sí nos ayudamos porque aquí habemos varios.
Yes, we help each other. There are several of us here. When help is needed, they are paid. That's my daughter. That girl is a neighbor. The boy, the neighbors, they all help here.
Sí, no, el muchacho también me ayuda aquí.
A unos metros del taller, en la carretera Troncal 9,
Just meters away on Troncal 9 Highway, a corridor of flavor awaits. The kiosks showcase this popular food-selling cassava bread, but also fruit sweets and tasty naiboas.
I sell cassava bread here, bananas, lemons, plantain, catalina, naingoa, avocado, and garlic cassava too.
Aguacate, casabito de ajo también.
Para los vecinos y viajeros del oriente, el cassava...
For locals and travelers alike, cassava is a daily bread, a simple, healthy product that goes with every meal and meets new tastes. Pedro confesses that every time he passes by here, he stops the car to take a package of cassava bread back home.
Mira, el casabe es un acompañante.
Cassava bread is a companion. I eat it with dinner, just fiber. For diabetics like me, it's great.
¿Entiendes? Entonces, por ejemplo, yo que soy diabético me va muy bien. Además,
It goes with soup, with everything. It's bread for many, for those of us from the East.
para las personas que somos de acá de Oriente. Sí.
La comunidad, las rayanderas, se organiza...
The Rayanderas community organizes from below 33 kiosks, over 50 people making cassava and diversifying Cúpira's local economy.
Mire, ve, aquí tenemos 33 kioscos.
Here we have 33 kiosks. All community are you in?
Entonces, si trabajan máximo 2 personas, calculado de...
If 2 people work at each, about 50 in total, but everyone works, nobody stays home.
Aquí nadie queda en casa. Todos trabajan.
A los sabores tradicionales ahora se suman recetas.
Now, new recipes are appearing. Garlic cassava, with butter or crispier to suit the customer. Tradition gets a modern twist.
Con mantequilla, con ajo, incluso tenemos...
With butter, with garlic. We even sell some called with butter and garlic. Very tasty.
Se llaman con mantequilla y ajo, que son muy sabrosos. Incluso el truco está en si tienes microondas, te lo llevas, lo metes en el microondas.
The trick in the microwave. It gets crispier. Or left in the Sunday, that's the trick to cassava bread.
Ese es el truquito del cassava.
Desde 2024, la UNESCO confirma lo que...
Since 2024, UNESCO has officially recognized what Venezuelans always knew. Cassava bread is an intangible cultural heritage of humanity.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also, we invite you to join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For Telesur English, I'm Alejandra Garcia. Thank you for watching.